You did a TV show with David Wilcock, right?
Yes, Cosmic Disclosure.
Yep. And then afterwards with Emery Smith, right?
We did a couple, like maybe 1 or 2 episodes together. And then Emery Smith took over the show from David and I after all the fiasco.
For them to continue the show without you was not okay. Why?
The show was, like I said, based on my IP, and the whole storyline is based on my IP. They decided that they were going to fire me and hire someone on to carry on my intellectual property, which made them over $300 million.
We are interviewing a truly remarkable man, Corey Goode, age 45, originally from Texas, and you still live in Texas actually. And what he has done here is to come forward as an insider and share with me more information about what's really going on behind the scenes in these so-called secret government and secret military programs and their development and industrialization of our solar system. It's a truly remarkable story because I've interviewed dozens of insiders over the years with classifications sometimes 35 levels above the President of the United States. I've withheld about 90% of that information from the public because A, it could get people killed, B, I didn't want to release things that would then spoil me being able to figure out who the real insiders were. Corey came along and he not only knew the 90%, he had many other puzzle pieces that I had been looking for. I knew there was something that people weren't telling me, and it all came together. And if you could really quickly give us an overview of your involvement with what this whole space program subject has been in your life.
For me, it started at the age of 6 years old when I was brought into what is known as the My Lab, some pronounce it Me Lab programs. Me and a few of the people that I was training with being brought into a program to where we were what they called IE support for the Earth delegation in a super federation. And this was a federation of a large amount of ET federations that met to discuss the grand experiment. There was a group of 40 human-looking ETs that were pretty much always present, and up to 60 at other times that were present. There were 22 genetic programs that were going on. Programs of them mixing their genetics and manipulating our genetics.
And that was ongoing?
Yes, it's ongoing right now. And this is what this was all about. And the Earth delegates had been trying to become a part of this for a long time, and they were finally able to get a seat.
You mentioned on your website something called LOC. Could you tell us what that is?
The Lunar Operation Command is a facility on the backside of the moon that is a kind of a diplomatic, neutral facility that all the different space programs have access to and use. There are some people that are stationed there and work there, but it's more of a way station. People are coming and going from it all the time to go to their further out into the solar system and beyond, to go out to other stations, other bases, to go out to their assigned vessels. I was transported to the LOC through what some call Stargate type technology or portal technology.
Okay.
I ended up at the LOC, or Lunar Operation Command, and I was then put onto this manta-looking craft.
Like a stingray shape?
Yeah, like a stingray or manta ray looking craft, and with a bunch of other people. And then we were transported from the moon further out into the solar system.
So there was some sort of hangar at the Lunar Operations Command?
Yes, there's a series of hangars. This was the larger hangar.
Okay.
And
how big is this Manta craft for conventional measurements?
About 600 people could fly in it.
Wow. So it's pretty large.
Yeah. It flew us to our destination.
How long were you at the LOC before you boarded the Manta craft?
It wasn't long at all. That's where I signed papers, even though I was too young to legally sign legal papers. And it was explained to me that I was doing a 20-year commitment. They called it the 20 and back.
What's the sequence of events that led to you becoming a whistleblower and that has led to what we're now seeing with this push towards disclosure?
I was contacted by an higher density ET group that has now been known as the Blue Avians.
Didn't you claim that you were speaking with Anshar at some point in time?
Yeah, that's when I meditate, those are my guides.
Okay. And that's a future species living inside the Earth?
Yes.
And you communicate with them on a regular basis?
Yeah, and it's also a part of my IP and creative arts that we're making movies and video games out of.
So you're saying that no one else can communicate with them but you?
Well, yeah. Well, they're my spirit guides. They came from me.
And so you're saying Anshar is unique to you. No one else can communicate to them but through you.
Let's see, Anshar.
Just answer my question.
It's in my franchise Bible. It is my creation. I'm a content creator.
Understand?
Whether I have my life stories mixed with some drama, which I've always made public as well, and in this book.
Do you remember my question? Do you have my question in mind?
Yeah.
Okay, what is my question?
The Anshar are a creation.
Not my question. My question is, can anyone else communicate to Anshar?
To something I created?
Other than through you?
That's something I created. That's something I trademarked? That's part of my trademark? No.
Okay, so the only people who can communicate to Anshar are you, correct?
It's a part of my meditative process.
Okay.
If someone wants to create up a meditative process where they're talking to the Anshar, there's nothing that stops that, and they will believe it, and it will allow them in their higher self to connect. It's a tool.
So someone else could connect to Anshar as well and have an experience with Anshar as well.
If they imagined it so, but if they decided to go out and do a television show about it or write a book about it, they might have a problem.
But can't they have their own, they couldn't write about their own experience?
Their own experience with something, okay, it would be the same as a Star Wars character.
No, but if someone else has an experience or had a meditative state, can't they communicate and talk about their experience?
Well, they can communicate and talk about whatever they want. This is America.
Sure.
But if they went out and said that Han Solo was giving them information in their dreams or in their meditations and they started writing books about it, guess who's going to come and sue them?
So you're saying that this Anshar, it's real, it exists as far as you're concerned, and that you communicate with Anshar, correct?
It is a meditative tool that I use. And a lot of my...
You're not answering.
I am answering your question.
Is it real or not?
It is not physically real. It was created by me as a part of my meditative practices.
Do you communicate with something named Anshar?
In my meditations, I use the Anshar as like an avatar to communicate and gather different information.
Avatar being real and independent from you, or part of you?
It would be it depends on how you view a person, their higher self,
Is Anshar independent from you, or is it part of you?
It's my creation. It's part of my higher self.
So no one else can communicate with it because it's your creation.
Right, unless they decide to create it in their head, but then they're not creating it.
Well, if they create it in their head, what are they doing?
They're borrowing my creation and delusionally having their own experience.
And they can't write about their own experience.
They can't write and profit off of, just like Han Solo, the whole Star Trek. This is an IP that is like Star Trek. And it is dramatizations built on top of my experiences. And that people do that all the time. And their content is not up.
So you're saying that Star Trek is real?
No.
Okay, no. So Star Trek's not real, Anshar is not real either, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's all a part of this intellectual property, and
It's content that's created by you.
yes,
Okay.
and all of the delusional people in the community who take this information, it is what you call fan fiction.
Okay.
So people that are talking about the Anshar and all of these different secret space program things, it's fan fiction based on my real life experience that I dramatized to create
and
this.
so people are delusional if they believe it.
They're delusional if they believe they were in the secret space program and in contact with the Anshar, who are my creation.
Do you believe you were part of the secret space program?
I was part of a secret program. I was.
And whose secret was it?
What do you mean?
You said it's a secret space program. Whose secret?
It was a government secret, I guess.
Which government?
The United States government.
Okay. And so you say that you're part of the secret space program?
I was I was brought into my lab programs when I was in elementary school, brought to Carswell Air Force Base, where we went through all sorts of experiments and training.
Which Air Force base?
Carswell, it's now joint, and they changed it. It's in Fort Worth.
Okay. And so because of that, you're part of the secret space program?
No, I was brought into a secret space program based on that training, and after that, I did this.
And so the secret space program was introduced to you when you were in elementary school, right?
When I was 17.
I thought you said elementary school.
No, that was the training, the MyLab training, where they took us out of school and did training and experiments.
And when you say they took you out and did training experiments, who's the they?
The people that were working with the elementary school and junior high that I went to, and Carswell Air Force Base.
Do you know who they were working for?
The Navy.
Okay. And so the Navy was taking you out of elementary school and junior high and training you?
I'm sure they had Mrs. Hill, who was a contractor for them, was also teaching at our school, took us out of class, took us to the Carswell Air Force Base. For what all went on.
How often would they take you out to do this?
It was maybe one day a month, and then sometimes it would be like a little spurt of, more like 2 or 3 days in a week.
Okay. And how many years was it that frequent?
From when I was 6 or 7 up until 17. It's like 10 years.
As a result of that training, what did you do differently?
I'm going to need that rephrase.
Sure. As a result of the secret space training program that you had in elementary and junior high, what did you do as a result of that training?
I still don't get what you're saying.
Okay. Because of that, what did that cause you to do with the secret space training?
What did it cause me to do?
Yes. Like for instance, you've said you've done 20 and back journeys where you go away for over 20 years and you come back.
Yeah, trademark.
And, okay. And you've done that, and you've done that many times, right?
Correct. That's the dramatization on top of the story. Like I said,
Are you saying it's dramatization or is it real?
part of it's real, part of it's dramatization.
What
Like
part?
I've said about all of this.
What part is dramatization?
Be more specific, please.
Sure, what part of the 20 and back is dramatization and not real?
Well, the 20 and back itself is my creation. That's why I trademarked it, and that's why it's a part of my intellectual property.
So does that mean it's not real? It's dramatization?
What does it matter if it's real or not?
I'm asking you whether it was dramatization or was it real?
It's a real part of my dream or delusion, of whatever you want to call it. I created all of this as on top of the training that I did have and the experiences that I did have. I extrapolated this stuff out and created it,
Okay, but it's part of your dream or delusion, you call it, correct?
with whatever y'all want to call it.
Well, what do you call it?
I call it my intellectual property.
Okay. And you state you've gone away for over 20 years and you come back and you haven't aged, correct?
Well, the 20 and back story in the book is that you're taking off planet, you serve 20 years, your age regressed, and you're put back in time to where you were first removed.
Is that the story or is that what happened to you?
It is the story,
So it's not what happened to you.
not necessarily.
Well,
It's a lot of these things are memories that I had that I wrote down, and some of these memories could be real or they could be creation. I'm not exactly sure, but I created on top of them, used my experiences to create on top of as a foundation.
are you sure of any experience where you went away for 20 years and you came back and you hadn't aged to be real?
How would I be totally sure if that sort of thing were real?
Are you sure that you had lunch today?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you as sure as having lunch today as you were about any of these experiences like the 20 and back?
Like I said, the 20 and back is my creation. It's a part of my intellectual property. Me creating it means it came out of me and that it is my story and it was never anywhere before. Makes it my intellectual property.
That's not my question. My question is, today you went to lunch, right?
Well, listen,
Listen,
I
hold
have
on.
told, no, listen, I have told you
Hey, I'm asking
that
a
I
question.
made up stuff on top of it, and in this book it says so.
Move-
So, yes, I did make up stories about the secret space program, extrapolated off of my experiences that I told you about earlier.
Okay, fair enough. Are you the only person who was in the secret space program?
No,
There were others.
right.
So if someone else...
Your question was,
So
did I
let-
disparage anyone?
So my question is now, if you were not the only one there, why couldn't someone else talk about their experience in the secret space program?
As long as they don't talk about the stuff that I created based on my real IP here. It says I created a lot of the stuff. I created Darkfleet. Darkfleet didn't exist before I talked about it. Now all these people are popping up. I was on Darkfleet. It's part of my
And all sorts
story.
of fleets that are darker in color throughout all
But
sorts
they're
of movies.
using every bit of my IP.
They use 100% of it, so it's
They base all of their story on my IP.
all of it,
All of it.
100%.
Yes.
Just a recopy of your
They
work,
recopy. That's why Gaia is being sued.
word for word.
Pretty much.
Same color, same everything.
No, I mean
Well, you said pretty much, or is it all?
it's pretty much.
Well, that's different.
People no, the people will come in and they will say, "Oh, okay, I was in the secret space program too, and all of these things that Corey has talked about. Well, yeah, I was a part of that too. Well, guess what? The stuff that I've talked about, some of it created out of my mind." In this book as a part of my IP, if they are out there making money and doing things to harm this IP, this storyline, then I say something publicly.
Okay. Do you put a footnote in your book that this is embellished and this is fictional. This is not real.
It says that there's Corey with his real story, and here's the fake or the science fiction story built on top of Corey's story. It says that in here.
Okay.